Good day, students. We now will look at the broken plural. It's a fairly straightforward lesson here. Broken plurals in Arabic take various forms. Now, in Arabic, as you might know by now, all Arabic words have a specific root. For example, if you have the word kitab, meaning a book, there's three root letters: ka, the kaf, the ta, and the ba. So just to give you an example, so we have the word kitab there, as you can see, kitab meaning a book, okay, and this word kitab, let me see if I can enlarge this a bit. We go for bigger font size, we make it, oops, that's the biggest I think we've got there. Or is it? No, there's bigger ones. So we've got the word kitab, okay. Just imagine the vowel signs in the word. Kitab, kitabun, or you can also say kitabun. And what we have here is, it derives from, its root letters are three. Ka, ta, ba. Those are called the root letters. This alif here is an additional letter. The roots are ka, ta, ba. Now, go back to our lesson. Okay, so we have these root letters on which a word rests. And as in the case of kataba, three letters normally make up the root. However, there are variations. You can have some roots that are actually four letters, and some very few roots that are even five letters, but by far the majority are three letters, and some four letters, and occasionally five letters. You also have what is called which you'll come to much later, in one of the later modules, something called a double root, which takes the form of almost two roots, but in actual fact it's in reality three roots as well. And this three roots are called trilateral verbs. So here's an example. Another example, we have the trilateral root fa'ala. Okay, this means he does. And often you will find, when we say this is the simplest form of the verb, often you will find that when you're referring to any verb, whether it's kataba, that's to write, or jalasa, which is to sit, fa'ala would be used as the example, and on which all other verbs, then you model the patterns of all other verbs on fa'ala. You model them the same way. So for example, if you take the word fa'ala, it means he does. Now kataba also means he does, and we'll learn this in the verbs, don't worry about it now. But if you say, for example, yaktubu, okay, yaktubu, which means he writes, you also then you can say yaf'alu, which means he does. Sorry, fa'ala here, actually this is incorrect. Fa'ala means he did. This is in the past tense, he did. So just please take note of that. This is incorrect here, and this is supposed to be he did. And we'll just kind of scratch it out and just make sure you just write that he did there. So that you can just make that correction in your study guide. In any case, don't worry too much about what I've said now, just to basically give you an impression, a basic kind of feeling for how these verbs operate. You don't need to know the details right now. But the important thing for our lesson is that when you add to these root letters, such as fa'ala or kataba, the words start taking on different meanings. Okay? And how do they do that? Okay? You add various things to these root forms. Again here, just the correction, he did. Okay, not he does, he did. And it also means to do. So if we add a ta, and this is one additional letter, we add a ta here to fa'ala, so that it becomes fa'alat, we get she does. If we add a ta here in front of the fa, and we also add another alif in the middle somewhere. This is known as the third form of the sixth form of the verb, and you'll come to this. You'll learn. You get the word tafa'ala, to interact with. And so the ta and the alif and so on are not the actual root letters, they're additions. And this allows the word to convey different meanings. And when you come to verbs, you'll learn a bit more about this. This is just to give you the general picture. Keep this at the back of your mind, okay? And you just need to recognize that words have root letters, that they have additional letters as well, and these additional letters allow the words to convey different meanings. That is the key point that you should remember. And just to give you another example, we said also there are some 4-letter roots called quadrilateral. Okay, this is the English term. Again, you'll learn about this a bit later. But for example, if you take the word jawhar, which means a jewel, it actually has 4 roots. All these letters here, all these letters here are actually roots of the verb. And similarly, you can also add to these quadrilateral verbs. So for example, if I add an alif, in the middle here, it becomes jewels. And that this is now, yes, this is a plural, of course. And also notice, just incidentally, this is a diptote, it's not jawahiru, it's jawahiru. This is one of the words that's a diptote. You can just refer back to your earlier lesson if you've forgotten what a diptote is. But here what has happened is very interestingly, when we convert the word jawhar to plural form, we've added a alif somewhere in the middle. We haven't said jawharat. We haven't, in other words, it's a non-human word, and normally the plural of non-human words, are in the female form. And so when we learned about the sound feminine plural in the last lesson, we said you simply add the atun. Okay, the atun. But here it's not jawharatun, no. Something else happens. It's not jawharatun, no. We've added the alif somewhere in the middle, so it becomes jawahiru. And that is significant because you can't predict this. It's you can't simply say you've got to add an atun. It's a specific word that takes a different type of plural, and a broken plural does occur in patterns, we will see, but in especially at the beginning stage, they occur in unpredictable patterns. You just have to learn them via memory. You just have to learn them, pat off. There's no other way, especially in the beginning. Once you really get used to the language and so on, you can maybe then, suss out, okay, this might be the plural of a particular word, but at this particular stage, you just have to memorize these broken plurals. So a broken plural is most commonly formed by adding an additional letter to the root letters. And as we saw, it can come in, and as we will see, it can come in many different patterns. These patterns do not follow any specific rule, as we said. You will gradually get used to these patterns with experience. And beginners especially will need to look up the broken plurals of specific words in dictionaries. And remember that a large number of nouns take the broken plurals rather than the sound plurals. This is important, that the majority of words, the majority of nouns take the broken plural, not the sound plural. Okay, so you'll have to learn this quite often. And what are some of the common patterns of the broken plural? We'll give a few here, and as you said, you'll learn this through experience. For example, you have the word najmun, which means a star, and you can, its plural is nujumun. Okay, its plural is nujumun, and it's on the pattern. And remember, we said you use fa'ala as your basic, prototype. The word fa'ala as your basic pattern, and you model other words on this particular pattern. So its pattern is fu'ulun. Okay, fa'ala, fu'ulun, and then therefore when you have the word najmun, if you apply this pattern here, the noon stands for the F, the jim stands for the ain, the waw stands for this waw here, and the meme there stands for this lam. You have the word fu'ulun, which is the pattern only. Remember, it's not the word that we're trying to seek the plural of. The word that we're seeking the plural of is, of course, najmun. And the plural of najmun is nujumun. And the pattern just helps you remember, these are the type of patterns. For example, fu'ulun. Fu'ulun is another pattern. Fi'alun. And so if you have fu'ulun, if you have the word kitabun, the plural is kutubun. Okay? As you can see, it's patterned on fu'ulun. If you have jabalun, the plural is jibalun. Jabalun is a mountain, jibalun is mountains. And so on. Hajjun, a hajj is a pilgrim, and hujjaj, some of you might know this, are pilgrims, hujjaj. Okay? And the pattern there is fu'alun. So if you apply that pattern, you get hujjajun. Here's another pattern, qalamun, the plural is aqlamun. Okay? The plural there is af'alun. Zamilun is another pattern. And another word meaning a colleague, zumala'u, and this is a diptote, just it's a diptote, not zumala'un. You often find that some broken plurals are actually diptotes, and so you have zumala'u, and it's patterned on fu'ala'u. And finally you have tabibun, which means a doctor, and the pattern here, it's another diptote, it's atibba'un. Okay? And its pattern is af'ila'un. These patterns, as I said, are not important to know, out of your heads or so on. You need to know the plurals. The patterns just help you, in certain circumstances, to help you acquire, help you acquire the vocabulary, or acquire, in this particular case, acquire the plural for these other words. But it's really not that important. The important thing is this thing here, to know the meaning of a word, tabibun, and to know its plural, atibba'un. If you find the patterns useful, fine and well, and at later stages you will find how useful it is. Just one more, akhun means a brother, and ikhwatun is the brothers, and the pattern is fi'alatun, and this is another pattern of the broken plural. Okay, let's just deal quickly with the adjectives of broken plurals. So when the broken plural noun refers to male human beings, it can take a broken plural adjective. For example, you say rijalun. Rijal is the plural of rajulun. Rajulun means a man. And you are saying tall. Now tall is tawilun, but if the plural of tall is tiwal, so you have rajulun, tiwal, rijalun, tiwal, tall men. Okay? And as we saw there, rijalun is the plural of rajulun, while tibalun is the plural of tawilun. However, this is like, this is normally in far fewer cases. In all other cases, that is where the noun does not refer to a male human being. Okay. Where a noun refers to everything else, females or non-humans, then the broken plural takes the feminine singular adjective, especially in the case of non-human beings. Okay, this sounds complicated, but you get, with practice you get used to what this means. So for example, we use, this is very important to understand because the vast majority of plurals in Arabic fall under this particular category. So say you have mudunun. Mudunun is the plural of Medina. Medina means a city. Okay, there's Medina. Madinatun means a city. And, in Saudi Arabia, you have Medina, Al-Madina Munawwara. Okay, that refers to the city of the Prophet. And Al-Madina there means the city. The plural of city, but Madinatun also means a city in general. So you say, for example, Cairo or Qahira in Arabic is a Medina, is a city. Now the plural of Medina is Mudunun. Mudunun is Mudunun means, of course, cities. However, now look at the adjective. The adjective, two things about the adjective. Number one, the adjective is female, kabira. Okay, kabira, not kabir, kabira. And this is in line with what we stated in the previous lesson, that the plural, that the adjective of non-human nouns, and cities, of course, a non-human noun, is normally in the feminine. So the first thing to remember, it's in the feminine. Okay. There's another thing though to remember, that although this word mudunun is of course plural, the plural of cities, kabiratun is in the singular. It's feminine singular. It's in the singular, and that's so important to remember. So we have mudunun kabiratun singular, not mudunun kibarun, or kabiratun. Those would be plurals. No, you don't say that. You say mudunun kabiratun. So this is quite interesting and something that you'll get used to along the way. And another thing you will get used to is that some words might have more than one broken plural, and with experience you'll get to know what those are. And as I also mentioned, just take note that a couple of broken plural patterns, and we mentioned zamil, which means a colleague, and zumala'u is colleagues, the plural, are diptotes. Okay, so those are things you should also remember with regard to plurals. And yes, and of course, if you're well ahead of the curve, and you feel, well, I can do much more than this, then I'd strongly recommend the source Haywood and Ahmad, and this will just kind of reinforce what you're learning here during these study units. So yeah, guys, next time, study unit 7.